Hey there gamers, DreamCast Guy here. Today we're talking about Valve and the Steam Machine and the Steam Deck because they've just announced that they are essentially
But remember, the Switch 2 is too expensive.
doubling the price of the Steam Deck. This thing is going from $600 to $1,000. Now, I think this basically means two separate things at once. One, the Steam Machine very likely, unfortunately, going to cost probably $1,200. And this seems like, I feel like it's kind of signaling that next gen, whenever we get a PlayStation 6, it's very likely going to be over $1,000 as well. Now, I want to talk about this because I've been a very big cheerleader for even the concept of the Steam Machine. I like the idea of it, the specs they've posted, the idea of like basically somebody from outside the console gaming industry joining in on the console wars, giving Sony some actual competition, because let's face it, PlayStation has been ridiculously lazy. They're making almost no exclusive games. They're not even doing like marketing deals. At this point, Sony just sits back and absorbs their billions, which I guess Valve does as well. But I like the idea of Valve trying to do some sort of actual hardware, especially because the Steam Deck is so good. But let's take a look at the price tags and the reaction, because people are literally just in shock. It seems impossibly high. I hope you're having a great day. If you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, this is real. I know I have to say that sometimes, but this seems to be simply impossible. Valve has raised the price of Steam Deck basically from $600 to $949 for the 1TB edition, and the 512GB edition going from $549 to $789. Of course, it's still out of stock. Look at these. It is absolutely insane. Now, what's crazy about this is that there was actually like 3 months where they had to stop selling it, and they said straight up they just couldn't afford to do it. It said like, hey, right now, because of all the tariffs and stuff, it's so expensive to even import the parts that our factories are literally out of pieces. So if you go down there, they have been selling some stuff like the refurbished units, some of those here, the LCD. The LCD edition still not as expensive. You can see that did not get a price increase, but instantly everybody is like, what in the world? Holy heck, look at this. I think it's safe to assume that Nintendo is probably selling the Switch 2s at a loss, because even with that $50 jump coming up September, $300 price jump, a $300 price.
That shit's crazy, man. For 4-year-old technology. Like, that's pretty wild.
Jump. It's plaguing everything ever to come out. Look at that. Best Buy Canada, it's just $1,000 US on sale for $868. Look at that. Look at the replies, though. A lot of people
you could just buy the Zog Ally X for basically the same price, and it's extremely more powerful.
I thank God I got mine a while ago. Checking my timeline to see if people are freaking out like they did with the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Well, obviously, very much this is the case. I don't know why someone's trying to bring up, like, the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro was also ridiculously way too much. Look at this, though, right?
Yeah, but the PS5 Pro price increase was what, $150? And that, on a percentage basis, was far lower than whatever this is.
People like Nintendo or not, the Switch 2, its basic manufacturer suggested retail price, is probably the best value in handheld right now. You can emulate stuff on the Steam Deck, which is nice, but the hardware is getting pretty expensive. In the Switch 2 Plus Online, you have hundreds of NES, SNES, etc. to play. Me waiting for that Steam Machine price announcement. Now, I have to say that I am surprised by how much people are trying to relate this to the Nintendo Switch 2, right? This thing is still expensive.
Why people are trying to relate it to the Switch 2? Because people like you lost their collective shit over the price of the Switch 2, shilling the Steam Deck simultaneously. Now the device you told everyone to go out and buy instead of the Switch 2 is significantly more expensive than the Switch 2. Also, this is a great pause right there. That's a great still. It makes him look like he has like a lazy eye.
This is $450 right now, just straight out of the box. It's $500 for the next big price increase coming up here in a couple months. I guess I'm still in a price point where I feel like these are very, very separate devices. Personally, I do not hate either of these devices, but I think the Steam Deck to me is more impressive. This has much better exclusives, so of course I play it, but this thing, I feel like the customizability of it, the fact that I can tinker with graphics or really, really customize my experience, I just think that the Steam Machine is, in a lot of ways, such a promising prospect because of how incredibly customizable the Steam Deck has been. I like the fact that, honestly, I've been able to do so much with it. This thing, there was a time where I was actually on a road trip and I was watching Netflix on this using desktop mode and then switched over a game and started playing.
So I ordered both of the, the Pros and the Poetic. So I have both on the way.
Cards and then boot up Baldur's Gate 3 on this. And look, This thing's good too. I'm not going to pretend that there's nothing great on this, but I'm just saying that to me, right now, apples to oranges, the Steam Deck feels more like a platform of play. And these price increases, I think, really do not bode well for the future. Steam Machine price might have a problem after the price jump. I also saw this. In hindsight, Nintendo opting to release the Switch 2 with just 256 gigs of internal storage was a smart move. That means they're keeping the price console lower to other handhelds with higher storage capacity. Passing the cost of storage on to the consumer is a bummer, but at least it makes that sticker price lower. I find reactions like this to be kind of like, I don't know, bad-spirited. It just seems like right now, everybody trying to say, at least this doesn't have a bigger storage drive, maybe that means the costs are lower. I still feel like, I still think they're selling this thing at a profit. A lot of people are trying to claim maybe this thing is selling at somewhat of a loss, but to me, this increasing cost of storage worldwide, the fact that AI companies are trying to buy up literal factories of chips and stuff right now,
Oski Woski with the 2, what did you get? The Prose and Poetic Ada, like the Norse mythology books.
I hate this shortage because I'm afraid it's not going to end, or if it ends, it's going to be years down the line. And I think that if there really is all the leaks and rumors that Sony feels like they need to rush out the PlayStation 6, maybe as soon as next year, this is crazy. The thought of any new gen console in the next few years just does not excite me because of the prices. The stuff we have right now is already too expensive. There's no way that Steam Machine, PlayStation 6, and next box are going to be even remotely reasonable in price tags. And this is the thing, right? I feel like I'm stuck on this. There have been a couple leaks as well that next gen PlayStation 6 isn't going to have any exclusives. It's just going to be a PlayStation 5 Pro. It's going to have even better graphics, but it'll just play PlayStation 5 games even better. Every single game on the PS6 made by Sony will still be on the PS5 for the entirety of the console generation. This to me does scare me. The Steam Machine was a chance for actual competition, actual pushback, actual blood.
Actual competition for what? The Steam Deck was always a premium option compared to the Switch. Now it's a premium option compared to the Switch 2, except it's less powerful and, 3 years older?
In the water competition for the first time in years and years and years. And I think the success of the Steam Deck has been such a clear sign that people want something else, right? The Steam Deck has been crazy popular, especially when you consider the fact that this thing is not in stores, it's not at Best Buy, it's not at Walmart. You can only buy this on Valve's website, only direct from distributor, and still so many millions of people talk about it. Now, I think they said the total sales of the Steam Deck is something like 3 million. I think this is already at 20 million. So I'm not going to pretend that it's a direct competitor, but to me, this felt like the fact that it was a signal that there is an outside flavor, an outside taste of the industry of something else we could have that felt much more experimental and bold. This sucks, man. I gotta be honest. I really wanted a Steam Deck OLED. There's talks about a Steam Deck 2 being in development. These prices are just getting to be too much. I mean, this is so ridiculously high, right? How many months of food is this, right? How many things would you buy instead of this? How much actual nutrients do you need to just give up? How many freaking meals of ramen does it cost you in a year to get this? $1,000 is literally double the cost.
Dude, that's an entire year's worth of ramen in terms of price increase. Oh my god.
Cost of the PlayStation 5 launch price. It's triple the price of the Nintendo Switch 1 launch price.
Imagine measuring your food cost in ramen cups. That's brutal, man.
We're just getting to the point where it's just unsalvageable. The Steam Deck just went from a great value proposition that I would tell anybody to get, even as a backup travel console, to now something that is just absolutely not worth it whatsoever. These have been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about the idea?
Wait, you would tell people to buy a $600 Steam Deck for a travel console, but you wouldn't tell people to buy the Switch 2? That's interesting. So, a little handheld that you use maybe once or twice a month at most is worth $600, but a Switch 2 that you might use every day is not worth $450.
The Steam Machine now. How do you feel about the Steam Deck, and how do you feel about next gen? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. $1,000. What are we doing here, dude?
Yeah, exactly, dude. If you have to rely on ramen for sustenance, gaming isn't for you. Yeah, you got bigger problems at that point.
What are we doing here? Thanks so much for watching that video.
You got some bigger problems at that point.